The Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation. Who is actually concerned? Who is a producer under the PPWR? And what changes for your decoration?
One note first. This is based on the information known today. The legislation is still being implemented and grey areas remain. We are clarifying them with the regulator, but it takes time, so we cover only what is known and clear today about the PPWR and the notion of producer.
We will cover who does what for household and industrial packaging, the impact of the PPWR on your packaging responsibility, the local authorized representative, and our conclusions.
In Belgium, as elsewhere in Europe, the moment you pack products to sell in Belgium or import packed products into Belgium, you are a party responsible for packaging. That brings 3 legal obligations. Demonstrate that your packaging is recycled, meet recycling targets per material, and pay a contribution towards the end-of-life management of your packaging.
2 organizations offer a collective solution, more efficient than each company acting alone. FOST Plus for household packaging, Valipack for industrial packaging. Household single-use packaging placed on the market by members represents 730,000 tons. Industrial packaging, 737,000 tons. Which is logical. A packed product also needs transport packaging. Household volumes are led by glass, then plastic, then paper and board. Industrial, paper and board, then wood, then to a lesser extent plastic.
And the results follow. Belgium ranks number 1 in Europe for packaging recycling, with a recycling rate of 80%, while the European target is 70% by 2030.
The words change. Primary packaging becomes sales packaging. Secondary packaging becomes grouped packaging. Tertiary packaging becomes transport packaging. Service packaging remains service packaging.
Some illustrations. Everything you are about to see are examples only. These lists are not exhaustive. Household sales packaging: a glass jar, a plastic bottle, a yogurt pot. Industrial sales packaging: big bags, metal drums, plastic jerrycans.
If you hesitate over whether a sales packaging is household or industrial, consult the grey list on Valipack Academy. The official versions are the French and the Dutch ones. A translated version also exists, but it is unofficial, for information only. The grey list lets you draw a clear distinction. For grouped packaging, the only household case is the multipack. Everything else is industrial, typically the case bringing several sales units together. Service packaging is always household. It is put into service only when handed to the consumer, for instance a cone of chips or a bread bag. For transport packaging, the only household case is parcel packaging, such as an e-commerce purchase. Industrial transport packaging means pallets, strapping, or plastic film. One novelty for single-use industrial transport packaging: a distinction is now made between packaging in its final form and packaging not in its final form. Final form, a single-use pallet. Non-final form, strapping and plastic film. Remember that distinction. It returns later.
On the household side, the change is slight. 2 new packaging types are added: the permeable bag of tea, coffee, or another beverage, and the non-permeable single-use pod of tea, coffee, or another beverage. From the 12th of August 2026, both must also be declared to FOST Plus.
Now the central point. We no longer speak of the party responsible for packaging, but of the producer. The producer is the one who makes a packaged product or packaging available in Belgium for the first time. This mainly affects your declaration to Valipack for industrial packaging. For FOST Plus, it brings only minor changes, with no major impact.
One change is common to both. The 300 kilogram threshold disappears, so many more small companies are concerned. Non-Belgian companies selling small quantities of packed products online to final users in Belgium become producers. And a company, Belgian or not, selling less than 300 kilograms of service packaging to points of sale in Belgium is now a producer too.
Responsibilities shift, so check whether your company is affected. 4 scenarios. 1. You buy packaging to pack and sell products. 2. You buy packed products. 3. You sell packed products. 4. You manufacture or repair transport packaging in its final form and sell it in Belgium.
Scenario 1. You buy packaging in Belgium to place products on the Belgian market. For single-use transport packaging in its final form and for service packaging, responsibility transfers to your supplier, and you must inform him of the share destined for the Belgian market. For other packaging types, you keep the responsibility, as in your current declaration. Packaging bought abroad also remains yours, as today.
You buy jerry cans, cardboard boxes and pallets to sell products in Belgium. Take a single-use pallet bought from a Belgian supplier. If you bought 100 pallets and sold 40 to Belgian customers, at year-end you report those 40 to your supplier, who declares them at his level. Jerry cans and cardboard boxes stay under your own responsibility, and for sales abroad the same logic applies.
Scenario 2. You buy packed products. Bought in Belgium, there is no change. A distinction can be made between final user and non-final user, but there is no transfer of responsibility. If you use the goods yourself, as final user, your supplier remains responsible for that packaging, and the same applies if you distribute those products on the Belgian market.
There is a major change when you buy packed products from abroad, with no distinction between imports from inside and outside the European Union. If you use those products in your own production process, as spare parts, raw materials, or packaging, you are the final user, and your supplier becomes the producer. If you are not the final user, you declare as today, with no transfer of responsibility.
An example. You buy sugar and cocoa powder to manufacture chocolate. Buy the sugar, packed, from a Belgian supplier and use it as final user, and your Belgian supplier remains the producer. Buy cocoa powder from Brazil, outside the European Union, and use it to manufacture chocolate, and your foreign supplier is the producer for that packaging.
So responsibility does transfer to a foreign supplier in certain cases. Be vigilant if you buy packed products from a foreign supplier who is not registered. You are then placing illegal packaging on the market because it does not comply with local packaging legislation.
You have two options. The first is administratively complex and probably costly and time-consuming. You identify the foreign suppliers of products for which you are the final user, and each year give Valipack a list of all suppliers concerned. Name, VAT number, country of origin. Valipack forwards it to the Belgian authorities for control, and you must also give those suppliers the information they need to comply in Belgium. The second option, which we encourage, is to continue reporting these quantities yourself and inform the suppliers concerned. You are then compliant with no risk of importing illegal packaging.
It works in the other direction too. If you sell packed products to foreign customers who are the final users, responsibility transfers. Selling to a Belgian customer, you remain the producer. Selling to a final user elsewhere in the European Union who uses those goods in his production process as a spare part, raw material or packaging, your company becomes the producer. Outside the European Union, we are out of scope.
You sell packed filters, and your customer installs them in machines, so he is the final user. Sold to a final user in Belgium, little changes. You remain the producer. Sold to a customer in the Netherlands, who is the final user, you take on the responsibility and are the producer. Outside the European Union, out of scope.
Scenario 4. You sell packed products and your customer redistributes them directly, so he is not the final user. Then nothing changes. To a distributor in Belgium, it is still your company. Inside the European Union, it is your customer, as today. Outside, out of scope. For example, you sell packed pharmaceutical material to a wholesaler who redistributes it in the same country. No sale to a final user, so no transfer of responsibility. What will next year's declaration look like? The declaration for 2026 must be submitted before the 28th of February 2027. As the PPWR applies from the 12th of August, it will have two parts, one under the old rules, one under the new. From declaration year 2027, it covers a full year. The producer register is new and producers must register in it. It is a public list of the producers complying with their obligations, which also helps identify free riders. The good news. FostPlus and Valipack handle this registration for their members and clients. From the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027, you receive a register number proving that you are registered.
Iprubel has provided for a contribution in its transposition of the PPWR at Belgian level, €175 per year per registration with each organisation.
So if you are a member of both Fost Plus and Valipack, you pay twice €175. Invoicing goes through Fost Plus and Valipack. A more specific case, online platforms. Platforms must obtain information on the registration of the producers among their customers and hold their registration numbers to be sure they are in order. They may also take over the financial contribution obligations linked to extended producer responsibility. For Fast Plus, this concerns household packaging only. That transfer is made by written mandate. One further subtlety, still under discussion and not approved. In the draft Interregional Cooperation Agreement on Packaging, the text transposing the PPWR at Belgian level, the platform could also register and declare for its customers, who give a written mandate. That goes further than simply paying. Those customers would then need neither their own registration number nor an authorized representative. But again, a track under discussion, and we do not know yet whether it will apply.
That brings us to the local authorized representative for extended producer responsibility, also new. If a producer is not established in the member state where it makes packaging available, whether in another member state or a third country, it must appoint an authorized representative in Belgium with a written mandate. That representative takes over the producer's obligations, financial contribution, reporting, and registration in the producer register. The reason is simple: a producer abroad is extremely difficult to control, so this creates a legal representative in Belgium.
Conclusions. A common limitation falls away. The 300 kilogram limit no longer applies for household or industrial packaging. On household packaging, there are very few changes, only a small number of new packaging types. On the industrial side, the notion of producer is where the change is greatest, with a concrete impact for Belgian companies placing packaging such as pallets on the market, and for foreign companies delivering to final users in Belgium. There is a new obligation, the producer register, handled for you with an identification number by the end of this year or the beginning of next, and a new role, the authorized representative, for foreign producers placing packaging on the Belgian market.
So on the industrial side, responsibility may transfer to foreign suppliers. Our advice is to keep declaring as you do today. This is a new and complex regime, where managing Belgian and foreign suppliers affects what you declare in Belgium, and it starts on the 12th of August, in the middle of the year. That complexity is imposed by the regulator and the European Commission. Declaring as today is simpler, less administration, no need to split flows before and after that date. It is safer. You need not chase foreign suppliers to check whether they are registered, and you avoid importing illegal packaging. And it is likely more economical, because the producer register costs €175 per registration. With several suppliers in several countries, each with very few Belgian customers, every foreign producer will pass that cost back to you in a whole set of register invoices. Transferring responsibility abroad may end up costing more than today and be less secure. Declaring as today gives you certainty that everything you place on the Belgian market complies with the legislation.
This video is an English adaptation of a single source, the Valipack webinar on the new definition of producer under the PPWR. It was produced with artificial intelligence, and despite careful review, it may contain errors. It is provided for information only and has no legal value. In case of doubt, refer to the original source and to the official legal texts.